Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Welcome back to our channel. Welcome to the NFC South versus the NFL. This your boy DJ.
And this your boy Mike Ricks. Keep pounding.
Your boy TJ Jones. All I gotta say is who that?
I always forget. Wreak havoc, baby. Wreak it. Fuck, baby.
Oh, that's y'all slogan or saying? Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, okay.
It's gonna be interesting to see what's going to this season. But we're not here to talk about the Bucks. Yeah. Unfortunately, we're here to talk about the New Orleans Saints.
Two-time NFC South champion New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, well, that sounds all good. Let's see if they can keep it up. I'll start it off. We're here doing projections, see how the Saints are gonna do this shit. The Saints have been probably the highlight for this division over the last 2 years. I mean, they've been represented very well, you know. 2 appearances and 2 heartbreaks in the playoffs. First one, you know, we're gonna have to talk about it a little bit. I still can't believe you missed. What was that? Was that Von Bell? Was that your boy Williams?
Marcus
Williams.
Dang, I still see that. I mean, he's straight Olay. I mean, you can't make that up. Then that last year, you can't. I mean, there's a lot of things could be said about that game, but you know, the hit that should have been a pass interference that has changed everything in the NFL. We've seen it even in preseason. The whole rule with the coaches being able to now challenge possible pass interference,
right?
Either one way or another. You know, we seen. To be honest, I seen a lot of. You saw what it was. We ain't changing nothing, which I thought was very interesting. I ain't see a lot of overturns at all this preseason with it. But,
Me neither.
Yeah. So, yeah, we all know about the hit that shocked the world. Another heartbreak. You know, Saints had a chance. We ain't gonna go into that, but yeah, that was so I don't even know how to go.
You know how I feel about that.
But so I guess I'm gonna start it off. The Saints offensively, what does it say? I mean, I think I went back like 12 or 13 years. I think New Orleans Saints have been in the top like 5 or 10 offensively, like, and they only missed it like once or twice in the last like 12 years, which is incredible. I mean, and the 2 staples that are still there, Drew Brees, even though he's getting older. Only question I got with that, I know I'm going into my whole thing. One thing I've seen, which obviously I can rebut it if y'all want. Drew Brees has seemed to always tail off in the last couple seasons towards the end of the year with that high-flying attack. Would it be weather? Could it be his arm just, you know, it's just something that kind of fades throughout the season? I mean, you can't go with his mental. I mean, he's one of the smartest quarterbacks in the league. I mean, we saw with Peyton Manning. He won a Super Bowl with a noodle arm. So, I mean, I don't put a lot of just because he can't throw the same, you know, from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. I'm not going to take anything away from that. So the offense, Kamara, even preseason, I know it's preseason. He looks like he's in form. He's ready. Latavius Murray replacing Ingram. There's a question mark there for me. I like Mark Ingram. I'm a big fan. Get why you let him go, money. Offensive line, y'all definitely y'all take the cake in this division. I mean, that one-on-one blocking I saw in this preseason, I mean, it was great. And I hope y'all let some of them offensive linemen go because the Bucks, we can use some depth. I mean, I would love to see it. Because even people that are blocking for your boy Hill, I'm like, yo, nobody's getting through. And you know what I'm saying? It was just like, wow. So I definitely would like one of them. Defensively, linebacker-wise, I don't like Davenport. I know I took a lot of shots at Davenport. I saw him make a play last preseason. I mean, I know it's preseason. I want to see this guy do something. I love Cam Jordan. I mean, I hate to say he's not a Buck, but I do. I always liked him coming out of college. I think we took Adrian Claiborne over Cam Jordan, which still to this day bothers me. But yeah, so I'm not those two lines, but the offense, they're gonna put up points. I love y'all secondary. I mean, when you're looking across the board, I mean, outside of Eli Apple, who in the South is comparing to that? I don't know, but can they hold up and can you guys get pressure on the quarterback? I don't know, but all that being said, I still see you guys going 11-5. With all that being said, in this division, winning the NFC South again. Hate to say it, but yeah, I got y'all going 11-5.
What's up? Yeah, you stole a lot of my thunder, DJ. The good thing about this team is that they've had consistency at the quarterback and the head coach for years, and whatever recipe they have offensively, it's been working for them. I will say this though, they did go on a streak of 7-9 seasons a few years ago before they just went on this run of taking over the division. So that's up there. But the offensive line, I think, is I believe by far the best offensive line in the division from what we've seen in preseason. Regular season comes with, don't know. Alvin Kamara, I need to see if he can handle the load. I don't know if he's made up like that, but I love him. You know, TJ, you may not know this, but I wanted Alvin Kamara coming out of college. I was very big on him. So when I saw he went to the Saints, I was pissed.
I was the one that slept on Kamara. I'm like, what? I mean, coming out of Tennessee, I'm like, what does this do? You know, I know he came from Alabama, transferred over to Tennessee. I mean, I didn't know he was a good pass catcher, but I mean,
yeah, he's a baller. I do like the addition of Jared Cook. He's just been consistent, and Drew Brees getting older, and his arm, I need to see what it's going to be at the beginning of the season. But like DJ said, it tapers off at the end of the season. That's a good safety valve to have with Alvin Kamara. I don't like the other receivers outside of Michael Thomas.
I
think that they are subpar to most of the teams in the league, and that's saying something compared even to the Carolina Panthers, because our receivers always are. But defensively, I will say this, man, and I'm going to stick with it, and DJ knows, and TJ, you're going to find out. I think that y'all have the worst front seven in the division. I do not like, especially with Rankins out. That's the reason why I'm going, and I don't know where he's going to stand or where he's going to be at. I got to look that up more.
TJ, before you go further, what's up with when you get to yours? Tell me about Sheldon Rankins. I saw something about him coming off the PUP list, so add that to that when you bring in your thing. So continue, Mike.
Yeah. So he may be ready. Hopefully he's ready, because if he is, he's a monster. But Cam Jordan, Sheldon Rankins, and Davenport, I didn't really care for him even coming out of college. Still hadn't shown me anything. I have to see more. He's fitting in that Tack McKinley, Vic Beasley area for me right now. He hasn't shown anything. Linebackers, I know A.J. Klein. He came from us, so I already know what he is. But you do have one linebacker, I would say, that's really good. The secondary, Eli Apple. This is where I come in. If one of your corners get hurt, y'all are completely done. I don't think you have any depth back there, because Crawley or whatever his name is he's not the answer. Latavius Murray, I think he can be a decent backup, but we've said this before, he's very injury prone. He is not Mark Ingram. He can fill a void though. He can take some load off of Kamara. So with that being said, the biggest thing that I have is 2 straight years of those heartbreaks. And people can say what they want to say. They can use this field, this and that. And I'm a big historian, and history and trends speak. And especially with this #1 schedule, I think that's going to play a part in it. Because Mark Ingram, even though he's gone, he spoke of it and was saying, yeah, we still aren't over that. I know he ain't part of the team. I don't know why he said we still ain't over it. But he mentioned that. And I think he's being truthful with that. I think that's sitting in the back of their head. Drew Brees is probably going to try to play lights out because he's on his way out of the league. So they're probably going to want to try to give one for him. But this is a young team that hasn't experienced – they've experienced winning in the playoffs, but that heartbreak and trying to build back from that, they did that the year before, but 2 years in a row, I don't know. So I'm looking at it as this team will go 10-6 though. I was flirting with 9-7, but they're just that good, and I think they're gonna go 10-6, and it's gonna come down to that final game. I believe in Carolina to see who wins the division.
So, what you got the record? The record. What do you think the record gonna be?
Yeah, I got it 10-6.
Okay. All right. First and foremost, looking at this team throughout preseason, what I have to say is I think the New Orleans Saints gonna go 12-4. And the reason why I think they're gonna go 12-4 is these guys are hungry. Like, I don't think you fully understand like what this team is truly capable of. I mean, I know you seen that week 3 dress rehearsal when that first drive when Drew Brees just drove them boys downfield like it wasn't nothing. And I understand it's the Jets, and you know what I'm saying, they got questionable secondary players, but these guys are hungry, man. And I know you was talking about how can they bounce back? How can they bounce back from this? I'll give you a prime example. Let's look at the Denver Broncos, right? The Denver Broncos, they went to the playoffs. They played against the Baltimore Ravens. A pass from Joe Flacco to Jacoby Jones, who got behind a cornerback. Baltimore ended up going to the Super Bowl. Second year, the Denver Broncos went to the Super Bowl, got waxed by the Seattle Seahawks. Third season, they played against your Carolina Panthers, and what happened? They ended up winning the Super Bowl.
Right.
The New Orleans Saints have been on the cusp of greatness for the last 2 years. And I'm telling you right now, man, like every single year, the chemistry builds. Every single year, the confidence builds. And these guys, they want it. Like they really, truly want it. I understand about Mark Ingram, but Latavius Murray, I think he is a suitable backup. And I want you to look out for a guy who I feel like is going to make the team. He's out of the University of Nebraska. His name is Devon Ozigbo. This guy is around 6 feet, around 225 pounds. He basically looks exactly like Mark Ingram. Okay? He can catch out of the backfield. I mean, he can get yards after the catch. He's good in the screen game. And not to mention Alvin Kamara going into his 3rd season. Michael Thomas, I mean, he deserves every bit of the money that he got. And we all know that Drew Brees makes any receiver much better playing in the offense with him. Defensively, me personally, I feel like this is probably the most depth that they possibly have had over the past couple of years, especially on the front line. I told you last week about Trey Hendrickson, a guy who is basically competing with Marcus Davenport. He's played a lot better than Marcus Davenport. And not to mention, I feel like Marcus Davenport is going to elevate his game. You got Malcolm Brown, who's going to come in from a David Alumado who's serving a 1-game suspension. He's a Super Bowl winning champion. He comes from the New England Patriots. You got Mario Edwards, who's the New York Giants and Bob the Oakland Raiders. Sheldon Rankins has returned to practice last season. Now, if this guy comes out here, he is going to be a problem. And not to mention Cam Jordan. Linebackers, DeMario Davis, probably one of the best free agents the New Orleans Saints have ever had. You know what A.J. Klein can be. Alex Anzalone, I mean, he's been injured, but he's going to come back. And not to mention, you got some young linebackers who are ready. In the secondary, you got Eli Apple, Marshawn Lattimore, who I feel is the best cornerback in NFC South. And you got Von Bell, who is now the number 1 safety on the Saints team. He ain't got to worry about rotating and coming in and out. Marcus Williams. You got C.J. Gardner-Johnson out of the University of Florida, a guy who can play in the slot, who can play the safety. And you got Saquon Hampton out of Rutgers. These young guys are ready. I feel like this team is poised to go 12-4, and I feel like they are going to win the NFC South for the third straight year because they understand. Like Mike, they fully understand. The window is closing for Drew Brees. It is. I said it last week. I will say it again. The window is closing. They have to strike while the iron is hot. I watch Teddy Bridgewater, Taysom Hill. None of those guys, in my opinion, will lead the Saints to a Super Bowl. I mean, to me, I feel like the future successor of the New Orleans Saints is not even in the building right now. So they have to strike while the iron is hot. So they're going to lay it all on the line, man. I think that this season might be the season that is going to get the Saints to where they've been looking for it. Every single year, they get a little bit closer. Divisional round, they lose in heartbreaking fashion. NFC Championship, they lose in a heartbreaking fashion. Super Bowl, I feel like is on the horizon for the Saints. And unless they have like an injury that's to one of their, really important players, I don't feel like nobody in the South can stop the Saints. No disrespect.
Well, and I'm glad you put it that way, because one of the things I will say coming out of the preseason, you all have been really healthy. Y'all did a really good job of staying healthy. But you named a bunch of guys that we have no clue who the hell they are.
Facts.
Not to say that they aren't going to be good players, but just like we've talked about before, they're unproven. So we don't know what they're going to do. I don't even know any of them from college.
Good question. I mean, good point, Mike. But let me tell you this. A lot of the guys that you were talking about were from an old regime. Joe Vitt, who was the assistant coach of the New Orleans Saints. You had a couple more defensive coordinators who Sean Payton was really close friends with, who he let go. You have guys like Mike Nolan, who was the former coach of the San Francisco 49ers, who was the linebacker coach. You have Bill Johnson, who's the defensive line coach. And you have Jeff Ireland, who's the guy who is over the scouting team, who has gotten guys in the building like Ryan Ramczyk, like a Marcus Williams, like a Marshawn Lattimore, like a Michael Thomas. This guy has been batting 1,000 over the last couple years, getting quality draft picks inside of the same facility. So, in my opinion, over the last couple of years, I don't think any team has drafted better than the New Orleans Saints. So you're saying that these guys that you don't know, but think about this. You knew who Alvin Kamara was, but think about how many other people didn't know who he was. You know, if you were watching college football, who Michael Thomas was, but think about how many people didn't think that Michael Thomas was fast enough, didn't have the right hands, didn't have, the ability to possibly be one of the top receivers in the National Football League. But Jeff Ireland did. So I feel like he has the track record, and he has proven that he can get the right guys inside of this facility. So trust and believe when I'm mentioning these names, this guy has been scouting these guys, and he has gotten them in the building. And over the last few weeks of training camp, these young guys have proven that they can step up and be a part of the Saints rotation.
Well, I'm gonna say this. I do see y'all going 11-5. Okay. I'm not changing anything. Like, I do think y'all gonna do very well in the regular season. And my motto, I mean, I mentioned it in the previous videos, is that I do think offense can get you to the playoffs. And I really feel very good about your offense. Mike mentioned it a little earlier. The one thing that scares me when you're talking about a Super Bowl is your front seven. I'm not really scared about your secondary, because everybody you're mentioning,
Fair enough.
Yeah, you mentioned your weapons, Kamara, Michael Thomas, great grabs. Von Bell, Lattimore, Marcus Williams in that secondary. Those are great pickups. But you know where y'all failed at? Y'all failed at, I think, putting more around Cam Jordan, who is a beast at defensive end. I do like what's his name, Automata, or whatever his name, Automata.
Yeah, I like him too.
How he showed at
David
the end.
Amumata. Yeah.
I do like him. Okay. Sheldon Rankins, I think if y'all had Sheldon Rankins, I would feel a little bit better about your front seven. But because you don't have him, I don't see anybody off the other edge. I know you said there's a potential of the other player that you mentioned. I do like DeMario
Trey
Davis.
Hendrickson.
Yeah,
He can play. He can play.
Yeah, so
He's a tackling machine.
you know, like I said, I'm a big DeMario Davis fan. Klein, I watched him with the. I don't care much for him. I don't think he's serviceable, but you would rather him play special teams than play a linebacker on your team, in my personal opinion. So front seven wise, I don't know, but I do think y'all gonna go through the season, which I do. And the postseason has been y'all Achilles heel. Y'all gonna get like you said, you made a really good point. We've seen something like this before, and it's gonna come down to that hunger and nutrition. Those are two things that are gonna be very important for the Saints this year, especially when going into the postseason.
Right. So, and you stole a lot of what I was saying.
Cause I've been watching these boys. I mean, I
am too.
I don't think there's a lot of holes with them, but I think it's going to be a big question mark against the end of the season. I'm not questioning them either winning the South or getting to the playoffs.
And I will say this, man, y'all, you all have drafted well, and it doesn't matter. You can finish last in the division, first in the division. It's all about scouting, and you all have done an exceptional job scouting. It's a little easier when you're going 7 and 9 and not on that back end drafting either. So you've hit some big, you got some big picks during that time. Then you started winning, and then you had to get a Davenport and things like that. And these guys, since you won, who you drafted that's truly been standing out? I just want to know personally, because from what I've seen is these guys that you've drafted have come from them 7 and 9 seasons.
They got Kamara and Thomas, right?
They got Kamara, yeah. And who else?
Michael Thomas.
Michael Thomas came, that's right.
The offense they did, but like you said, that's been Achilles heel right now is improving that front seven. And I think that's why I said Oyemata, he was a late find, which if he can continue to grow up, like you said, he was suspended for that first game. I mean, one game. We got to play the Texans.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a good defense. That's a good offensive line to get some practice on. I'll tell you
absolutely. They start the season off getting right with that, and then even if Sheldon Rankins isn't there and he's suspended, they'll be okay. What I will say is that I think the best thing that happened to y'all was the Minnesota Vikings running all over that defense preseason week 1. Somehow, some way, I know it's just preseason. We don't want to take a lot from it. Light bulb went off, and y'all been flying around. So I do want to give y'all credit for that, because I still think y'all the cream of the crop in this division. So I'm not too sold on that front seven. And I'm a big believer that games are won. I'm the old school. If you can control the clock, run the ball, play defense, you win games. I don't care about all that air line crap.
Can I make a prediction? I predict that the New Orleans Saints will have more sacks than anybody in NFC South this season.
Woo! Hot take. I need a bailout.
That's my prediction. That's how confident I am in his front.
And I totally disagree with that.
I'm just being honest, man. Like, just watching this team, just watching them and watching them, practice and being on the field, man. You can't I watch all the NFC South games. Okay, since we decided to form this show,
right?
There's no team in the NFC South that I've seen in preseason that has excelled on offense, defense, special teams like the Saints have. Now I understand it's preseason, but at the end of the day, I haven't seen it. I have not seen it. Like
y'all excelled offensively.
Yeah, you did.
You talking about week 3? You talking about dress rehearsal?
Yeah, I'm talking about when it counted. And you can also count the Los Angeles Chargers game because AJ Klein had a pick. He's a starter.
Okay, and they also played some against the Minnesota Vikings. Hey man, the only person that didn't play from what I saw mainly was Drew Brees, And that third preseason game, he went down the field, did a heck of a job, scored. Offensively, I didn't see them killing like they normally do. But that's because Drew Brees wasn't back there. So that's a little different. I mean, we got to see more. It's just preseason.
All I'm saying is, like, from week one, when they were really out there, just basically the defense getting sliced through like Swiss cheese. The second week, they improved. Third week, they got even better. Like, you seen, like, offense, defense, special teams got better. All I'm saying is this, man. Like, every single week, I've watched these games, and it seems like, especially the Atlanta Falcons, it just seems like guys have, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like they've been dealing with the same type of issues, but it seems like the light has come on for this team. I'm telling you, like, there's something about this team that is going to be very, very scary. And like I said, I'm not even just speaking as a homer. Just watching these guys play and watching these guys hunger and just watching them practice. It seems to me like these guys understand that the window is closing for Drew Brees. It's real, man. Like, for real, it is real. See, you all have these young quarterbacks who 4 and 5 and 6 years are still going to be here and be staples in the National Football League. Drew Brees, tops, has 1, maybe 2 years left in him. They have to strike while the iron is hot, because if they don't, then we probably gonna have a whole different subject going on when we're doing these shows in the future. Because maybe, shoot, the Saints may be the laughing stock of the ones everybody laughing at. They have to strike while the iron is hot right now. Because if they don't, then they're gonna look back and be like, man, we wasted one of the best quarterbacks of all time's career, not getting him another Super Bowl.
What? Okay, you said another Super Bowl. He got a ring, which is he made an accomplishment. So, and it could happen, man.
Not good enough. Not good enough, Mike.
It could happen.
Like,
y'all better run the ball, though. Y'all better learn how to run the ball.
Mike, last season, like, Mike, for real. Last season, I'm just being honest. Last season, New Orleans Saints team was much better than the team that won the Super Bowl. That's just my opinion. If they do not win another Super Bowl with the squad that they have,
right,
it's a failure. It's a failure, like, for real. Like,
I agree with you.
It is a failure. Like,
well,
I'm sorry.
We all know.
How many times we gonna hang on this one? Like, honestly, how many times we gonna hang on this one ring?
Man, we all know Katrina was the reason for that ring. So let's not even trip like that team. Great. We all know Katrina
I
was the reason for that ring.
I completely 100% disagree with that.
My hat up on that one.
That is 100% false. I have 100% false.
Yeah, nah, man.
I mean, you sound like that Falcon fan that I went and I went toe to toe with. It makes absolutely no sense.
It doesn't. It was a joke, man. People say it all the time. It doesn't make.
I mean, I just want people to think about this logic. The New Orleans Saints came back in 2006 to the Superdome. They went 10-6. Okay, they went to the NFC Championship game that season against the Chicago Bears and lost.
Right.
4 years later, they won the Super Bowl. So I'm just thinking, like, if you're going to make this some kind of Cinderella story, why didn't they let them win in 06? It's not like how the Houston Astros, when the hurricane hit them, all of a sudden the Houston Astros won the World Series. Like, you won't make a controversial take on that. Fine. But 4 years, man, come on, man. Like, that's ridiculous. That makes absolutely no sense.
Like I said, I'll make one comment to what you said. You're saying the Saints have a sense of urgency right now, but at the same time, with that sense of urgency comes with a lot of pressure.
So it don't matter. Look how they lost. Look how they lost the last couple seasons. It don't matter
because there's still a lot of high expectations, and
no, it's not.
For how
no, it's not.
What
you mean? No, it's not. Y'all are Super Bowl favorites.
Look what they're saying.
NFC.
Look what the national media is saying.
Y'all are
They saying that they're going to collapse. They saying they're going to collapse.
No, they're not, man.
They are. Did you see Colin Cowherd, Mike? Did you see Colin Cowherd's record? Did you see Colin Cowherd's record? Colin Cowherd said the Saints going 9-7.
Well, hey, At one point, I had 9-7, so maybe I'm calling Cowherd today.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. Would you, if there was a sense of urgency, would you be saying 9-7?
All I'm gonna say is this: the New Orleans Saints. This is NFL.com. They just did voting. They got 24 votes out of 30 to win the daggone South, of course, and also play in the divisional, the NFC championship game. They're high on the daggone Saints.
And they should be. They should be, man, because honestly, look, this is the equivalent of going to Vegas and putting it all on black. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what it is. Like, they understand that they have to strike while the iron is hot. They have to, man. Like,
we ain't disagreeing. We're not arguing.
They're going to be, like, in my opinion, unless they draft like a Trevor or some other, like a Jake Fromm or something like that, you know? Exactly, man. Like, this is the time, okay? There's a competition going on between Bridgewater and Taysom Hill. Neither one of those guys, in my opinion, are the future and the successor of Drew Brees. They're going, like, honestly, if they don't strike while the iron is hot, there could possibly be some dark times with this organization, man. And you do not want to look back. You do not want to look back and be like, man, you know what I'm saying? We had one of the best quarterbacks of all time. All we can get is one ring out of it.
Hey, I feel your pain. We had one of the best defenses of all time, won one Super Bowl ring. Y'all gonna be saying that if y'all don't get this. I feel what you're saying.
Exactly what's gonna happen. And you're right. It is a sense of urgency, and I know they're gonna coach to that. Drew is a phenomenal leader, so they're gonna follow him with that. And we're not. Hey, look, I can't stand y'all, but I'm gonna be real about it. I'm gonna be real about it. I really believe that y'all.
I don't dislike. I don't dislike the Carolina Panthers like I dislike the Falcons. Okay, like I have respect for the Panthers. Like the Panthers and the Buccaneers, I do not detest like I do the Atlanta Falcons. You know what I'm saying? Like I just can't. Like I just do not like them. Well, like if it came down to it, and y'all was like honestly, when the Carolina Panthers was going up against the Broncos, I was cheering for the Panthers. I wanted you all to win.
I wasn't.
Like I'm gonna just be honest. Yeah. Like I'm not that petty. You know what I'm saying? I'm not that petty. I'm not that type of guy. Well, now the Falcons, yes, I wanted them to lose. And it was sweet when they lost that Super Bowl.
What did it to me was, man, you know, the whole broom and sending my quarterback the broom and all that type of stuff, man. The whole arrogancy with Sean Payton. And at that point, I was
that was the between the Cams though. That was Cam Jordan and Cam Newton. But they really close friends, like outside of the game.
Yeah, they close. Man,
but you all sent him a bottle of champagne. Y'all sent the bottle. He sent the bottle of champagne to the Saints organization when y'all won the division. When y'all went 15-1. Nah, come on now. Like
I'm with you.
You can't dish it. You can't dish it if you can't take it now, man.
Come on, man. The reason why it's just all for competition, man, because there's not another team in the division that's close to having more divisional titles than the Saints. You and I have the most divisional titles in the NFC South. Man. So it's just a respect. That's all it is.
Got rings.
We're babies, man. I mean, we had 2 opportunities and choked. You're right.
Yeah. So,
hey, at least you got there, though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so, hey, man, we're gonna wrap this up, man. I'm
Buffalo Bills.
These jokers, man.
At least you got there.
10-6. 10-6 my way. You got 10-6. You got 12. You got 11-5. My bad.
I got 11-4.
12-4.
Well, it's looking like it's probably gonna win. We're gonna do the average. It's 11-5 right now. So the Saints, congratulations on taking the division for the 3rd time again.
Dang, who that?
Hey, because I can't even hate on him, man. He pissed me off with that Panthers review. I gotta be real.
Yeah, go back and check. You know, we did reviews on our projections on all 4 teams. Go back and check them.
This has been fun, man. Absolutely fun.
And this your boy Mike Ricks, man.
It's your boy DJ.
Your boy TJ Jones. Who that?
Appreciate y'all checking out the NFC South versus the NFL show. And we out.